What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a very cool Legacy deck centered around the combination of Yanmega Prime, Magnezone Prime, and Kingdra Prime, more affectionately known as Prime Time. This is a very, very old deck that found success many years ago. I would say, is it almost 10 years ago? It might be. But either way, before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. And let's do more cool stuff for you guys. And also, if you are new to the channel here at TTM, we are a collaborative channel, so there is more than just TCG content, which you do see here, as that's why you clicked on this video. We also have draft format and occasional Smogon related stuff. Well, by occasional, I mean once in like the past 3 months. But anyway, we are a collaborative channel, so if there are more facets of Pokemon that do interest you, please feel free to subscribe. And also, we do have a Discord that will be linked in the description, where we do have channels for all different aspects of Pokemon, including the TCG draft format and Smogon. So yeah, definitely check that out if you want to talk with a bunch of other Poke nerds about the game that we all, well, quote-unquote love. It's more of a love-hate relationship, all things considered. And also, with the question of the day, because this is Prime Time, and I know I've probably done this question before, but I'm going with it anyway because there are 3 different primes that this deck is centered around. What is your favorite Prime Pokemon and why? Or Pokemon Prime, not sure the exact wording for how you would consider that, or how you would call that, considering that I did not play when primes were first in their heyday. But if you had to ask me, I would say that my favorite prime is actually the only one that I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do a deck on, and that is Umbreon Prime. So Umbreon Prime is actually just atrocious. I mean, it has the ability where you can flip a coin, and if heads, well, actually I think it's like if this Pokemon is active. Hold on, I'm going to look this up really quickly because it is really, really bad. So let's see if I can find it really quickly. There it is. Once during your turn, if Umbreon is your active Pokemon, so it has to be active, you may flip a coin. If heads, return Umbreon and all cards attached to it to your hand. This power can be used if Umbreon is affected by a special condition. So immediately I would think that, okay, I could pair Umbreon with a Weavile deck and then just play Umbreon down, and then when I needed a couple extra cards to discard, I could just bounce Umbreon back. But no, has to be active, and you also have to flip a coin. So that in itself makes it insanely unreliable. Then Evo Blast for a Darkness and a DCE does 50 plus damage for each evolution. Oh, cool. How much would that be? Like 30, 40 damage for each extra evolution? Nope. 10. So, yeah, at most, Evo Blast does 90, maybe 180, or 120 with a Silver Bangle. That's not nearly enough to run a deck on. So really, all that makes Umbreon even kind of good, it's pretty useless, and that's kind of why I like it, just because, like, Umbreon, you are so useless of a card that it's kind of almost endearing to me. So yeah, Umbreon Prime is my favorite prime because of its uselessness. What is your favorite prime and why? Leave that in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. But anyway, onto the deck. Like I said, it is centered around the combination of Yanmega, Magnezone, and Kingdra Prime. And I would like to point out that this particular iteration was inspired by yofizz. I played him, wow, I actually think it might have been it was over a year ago, definitely. It might have been a year and a half ago. And he gave me the idea for Ho-Oh-EX with Rebirth, because Magnezone Prime's Lost Burn, you have to put energy into the Lost Zone that you have on the board, but it can be from anywhere. So by just having a couple energy on Ho-Oh, you're able to just throw the energy off of that as opposed to Magnezone, so you're still powered up for an attack next turn, and you don't have to discard all the energy off of Magnezone to where you can just keep attacking, that type of thing. So it's a very cool iteration, and I'm excited to try this out. I've tried to do this video a couple times, but on the ladder, I either get like the 5-10 minute wait times, or I just get absolutely destroyed by like top tier decks, because I'll be honest, this deck just did not age well. This deck actually aged very, very, very poorly compared to other Heart Gold, Soul Silver decks that I've been trying out, and it really does not do a whole lot if you're not able to. I mean, it just gets outsped, out damaged, all that stuff. Because I mean, Magnezone Prime hits very hard. I mean, it really does. Like, being able to hit for 200 damage for potentially 4 energy is very strong and can age well. And then, of course, Magnetic Draw is also, I mean, insane. You're just able to draw until you have 6 cards in your hand once during your turn. But the rest of the deck, to try to keep up with it, really doesn't. Yanmega only 40 and 70, just not enough to be able to keep up with the current state of the game, and especially considering I only have like 110 HP, 140 HP, that's really just not enough, like I said. So it didn't age well. I've been trying to do this for a while, but I'd either get the awful wait times or absolutely bodied. But now that I'm just playing against Henry, I'm able to be like, hey, don't use a top tier deck, use a lower tier, so we can have a better match. I mean, it's a lot easier to do, so I can show off what this deck does. But yeah, so what Yanmega Prime does is it has the Pokebody Insight. If you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, the attack cost of each of Yanmega's attacks is 0. So you can guess that we're rarely ever attaching energy to Yanmega, and if anything, we're just using this to attack until we can get enough energy on board for Magnezone to be able to Lost Burn effectively in order to take the big knockouts that we need to win the game. And then finally, there is just a single copy of Kingdra Prime with the Spray Splash. Once during your turn, you may put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. This power can't be used if Kingdra is affected by a special condition. And yeah, so Kingdra Prime, and also, I mean, if we ever have the energy there, we can potentially use Dragon Steam, but that's very unlikely. Kingdra Prime just kind of remains on the bench, just out of harm's way, putting 10 damage on the board here and there, which actually can make a difference in some of the calc situations. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty straightforward, and then Ho-Oh is when you just bring energy onto the board if you ever need it in a late game scenario. And I'm just going to go through the mons and talk about why I chose each of them and why I have the numbers that I do. So I have 1 Smeargle just because this deck really is slow starting up, so Smeargle can help me get a better setup, which will allow me to have a better situation to start the game to where I can potentially get my setup that I need in order for this deck to be successful. 2 Ho-Oh just because 1 is not reliable. 2, statistically speaking, you should be able to, or it's highly in your favor to get a Ho-Oh on board when you need it. So that's why there is 2 instead of 1. Also, we are running more energy, or a bunch of different types of energy, so even if we do hit 2, we will still get the full 3 energy onto Ho-Oh in that situation. 3-3 of Yanma and Yanmega Prime, because these things are just really there to attack until we can get Magnezone set up. 4-2-4 of Magnemite, Magneton, and Magnezone, just because these are really what keeps this deck going. And then a 3-1 split of Magnezone Prime and Dual Brains Magnezone, because what Magnezone Prime's Magnetic Draw allows is, first of all, this is our main attacker, so there's that. Second of all, what Magnetic Draw's purpose is in this deck is to even up our hand size for Yanmega Prime in order for it to be able to attack with no energy. Dual Brains Magnezone can also do that as well with things like Judge, Hugh, and Copycat, so that way you can play 1 supporter during your turn to actually get a hand that you want to use from, and then you can play a 2nd supporter so that you're like, okay, I played out my turn, now I just want to even up the hands. Just another cool way to do that. And then 1-1 of Horsea and Seadra, or Horsea and Kingdra. We're not playing any Seadra because we don't have room for it in this deck. There are a couple cards that I really would like to run more of, but unfortunately just did not have the room, as this deck is very, very clogged to begin with. Seadra was one of those, so we're just relying on Rare Candy in order to get straight from Horsea into Kingdra. 1 Escape Rope. There would be an energy switch right there. In fact, I highly recommend trying it out, but I really did not have the room. I wanted the Smeargle that badly that I just decided to cut the energy switch, but it really does help out in late game situations where you're able to rebirth with a Ho-Oh, get a lightning energy on it, but then energy switch that over to a Magnezone for it to be able to attack, or throw the water energy onto Kingdra for it to be able to attack, that type of thing. So I highly encourage running an energy switch. I just decided that, you know what, I mean, that's probably the better version, but I just try to go for as much consistency as possible, and like even if I lose while getting set up, at least I'll get set up and be able to use what this deck is doing. But 1 Escape Rope to be able to get our mons out of the active. We're not playing any Float Stones, and things like Magnezone are very fat. Luckily, Magneton only has 1 retreat cost, but yeah, Magnezone's very fat. If our opponent catches it up and tries to stall, we can get out of there. 4 Junk Arms to be able to reuse our items. That's what these things are called. Wow, I just blanked really hard for a second. And also get things like Ho-Oh and Energy in the discard pile. For search, we have 2 Level Ball, 2 PCOM, and 3 Ultra Ball. We will have Pokemon in our hand a lot. That's why PCOM is a viable card to use. 3 Rare Candy, would like to run 4, but again, not enough room. 1 Super Rod is our method of recursion. 1 Switch, just like the Escape Rope. Magnezone is fat enough that we want to keep it out of the active spot. And then as for these supporters, 4N, absolute max number, because we want to be able to N our opponent down. Also, it gives us similar hands in his shuffle draw. 2 Judges for same hands, but also disrupting our opponent. 2 Copycats in order to copy our opponent's hand size. 1 Hugh, again, for the hand size thing. And then 1 Twins, as we are likely going to fall behind in this deck. So, yeah, Twins is very nice for being able to grab like a Rare Candy Magnezone and help us set up. 1 Life Dew as the A-spec of choice. In the deck like this, you'd think I'd run Computer Search, but this deck just falls behind so quickly that Life Dew is necessary to keep us in the game. And then as for the energy, 1/1/1/1/1 of Darkness, Fire, Metal, Psychic, and Water, as those are for Ho-Oh. And then Water can be used for Kingdra, but then 4 Lightning Energy, a higher number, because Magnezone is our main attacker. And then 2 Grass, because again, another type for Ho-Oh, but also potentially if we need to use it on Yanmega, we can. But anyway, I've talked for way too long. Let's go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we've got one against Henry with a Psychic, Water, and Grass deck. So honestly, it reminds me, I think I faced this before. I think this was his Empoleon Dusk Noir deck. So it's a slow deck that we could definitely try to take advantage of. And we start off with actually some kind of perfect stuff. Start off with a couple Yanmas. Well, more than a couple Yanmas. Start off with 3 Yanmas and a Magnemite. If I can get a second Magnemite down, that would obviously be ideal. I actually think 2 more Magnemite would be the best situation. And unfortunately, he does Hypnotoxic Laser me. Does he get heads? Yes, he does. That's unfortunate. But I do end up waking up, or staying asleep, but I do have the escape rope. Sorry, so I'm able to escape rope out of there, and then I hate to end, but I don't have anything either. So I'll just go ahead and give him... Did he not like that? Oh, I guess he he's told me that there goes his Rare Candy Dusk Noir. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and Level Ball for a Smeargle, as I do have free retreat this turn. Let's go ahead and Junk Arm. I really just want to get rid of the Ho-Oh, throw that into the discard pile immediately. This will allow me with my Level Ball to get another Magnemite, so I will have 3 Yanmas and 2 Magnemites down. And quite frankly, a very, very nice start. So let's go ahead and retreat into Smeargle, and then go ahead and Portrait for nothing. So yeah, kind of an unfortunate start right there. I mean, I can't evolve into Yanmega, I can Judge, I just need a way of getting my Smeargle out of the active spot this coming turn. He does Level Ball. What's he grabbing? He has to, I think he's going to attach an energy to, he's probably going to grab, oh, he's grabbing Execute. Well, I guess he's just going to Junk Arm for a Piplup is, yeah, Junk Arming for a Piplup is what I would guess his play would be. Just because, I mean, as soon as you get the... Gotta get the Piplups down. I did... Okay, he must have... Unless I completely missed it, I think he top-decked into that Computer Search. Because if I would have seen the Computer Search, I would have been like, huh, well, that's unfortunate that he didn't have a supporter, but I do have a Judge for next turn. I have a Yanmega, so I definitely will be able to... get something going at the very least, like. And okay, so he must have Computer Searched for that Oak's New Theory. I'm surprised he didn't attach the energy to Duskull. I guess he was trying to bank on the Float Stone. Gets another Hypnotoxic Laser, which is kind of really annoying, especially with the Verbank, as yeah, and he's going to switch into his Smeargle, and he's going to Portrait, but Portrait will get me a fresh hand of 4, which I can hopefully use. Yeah, I'm not... Hopefully it's something good. Well, it gives me a Copycat and an energy, which I can retreat out with. So I really don't want to use a lightning tap to retreat out, but I think that's kind of what I have to go for at this point. So let's go ahead and how do I want to do this? So let's junk arm. No, not yet. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I mean, I even hate to get rid of it that way, but let's go ahead and escape rope. Brings up something that he might not necessarily want to have in the active. Then also gives me the chance to free retreat. So let's go ahead and brings up the Dust Skull. That is fine with me. Let's go into my Yanma, Life Dew up, and then Copycat. It's gonna give me 3 cards, which is a Magnezone, which is nice. So let's go ahead and do that. Retreat into my Smeargle, and actually, first things first, let's attach an energy to the Smeargle so I can manually retreat out. And then let's portrait, grab that Professor Oak's new theory to get a fresh hand of 6, see what else I can get. And this works out amazingly, actually, because what I can do is Ultra Ball, get rid of the Fire Energy and a Magnemite to grab a Yanmega Prime. And then I can just Level Ball for another Magneton so that I can get 2 of my Magnezones up this coming turn. So this is actually working out really well. If I had one more switch, then I think I'd be in an even better position. And that just shows like what a great play that Hypnotoxic Laser was, because that kept me from being able to retreat out and actually knock out my opponent's Dust Skull. Because had I been able to knock out the Dust Skull, then I would have been in a really, really, really fantastic position overall. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for at this point. Yeah, just kind of relying on the fact that he hopefully will not draw into anything that can help him out too much, and just going off of that. He does get the Prinplup and the energy, which is something that I think I can definitely work around. Just want to knock out this Dust Skull, because I have the Magnezones in my hand to be able to get manual draws, and unfortunately he does get the Dusclops, which means that I will not be able to one-shot that thing with my Yanmega. Yanmega caps out at 70 damage. And he's going to go back into Smeargle. Well, Smeargle I can knock out in one hit, so all I have to do is just use my Magnezones in order to be able to match my opponent's hand size with mine. He portraits, gets nothing off of that, and I think he's just going to have to end his turn right there. I really would have liked to have knocked out that Dust Skull and kept him from getting a Dusclops and eventual Dusk Noir. But his start is very slow, which is honestly perfect for me, because this allows me to actually get some stuff going, and I get honestly what amounts to be a perfect hand, because I can evolve into 2 different Magnezones, get the energy onto that one. I'm going to go ahead and use the Dual Brains Magnezone, because I really like that as well. Yes, it doesn't give me an attacker, but actually let's portrait while I have an empty hand. And let's end. Yeah, let's match our hand sizes. So let's go ahead and portrait. And yeah, I hate how it does that sometimes, where it's just like, oh yeah, let's just go ahead and let's just show all these cards instead of just having you draw them if you have an empty hand. So let's go ahead and PCOM, get rid of the Magnezone for a Yanmega Prime, or put the Magnezone back into my deck, get another Yanmega Prime out. Let's evolve the non-damaged one. I'm probably going to try to get both of those anyway, and then let's Copycat, get the exact same number of cards in my hand as my opponent. And okay, so what I can do now is let's manually retreat the Smeargle into Yanmega Prime. And man, I hate how TCGO is doing that. There's a glitch with Smeargle right now to where if you portrait and it's active, you can't use a supporter in your hand, but if it's not active, then you can still... But if you can get it out of the active spot, you're able to use a supporter again. So, I mean, I don't know, that's just kind of annoying to me that that's going on with Smeargle right now. But regardless, we are able to knock out his Smeargle, take a prize, and now we have 2 Magnezones set up. I just need to keep getting Magnezones on the board. because that's ultimately what's going to allow me to win the game, I think. Gets another Piplup, and finally gets an Empoleon. This is going to be able to... He needs... Well, Hypnotoxic Laser will be able to do it. I was about to say, he needs a couple more Pokemon in order to be able to knock me out, but with the laser damage, he has enough on board. He has 9 on board right now. He would have needed 2 more, but because of the laser, he's going to be able to deal with that pretty nicely and be able to take that out. And I think what I have to do is just go straight into my... I could attack with another Yanmega Prime, but I really don't think that that nets me a whole lot. Because what I can do is just go straight into Magnezone, and because Empoleon's weak to lightning and not... Yeah, because it's weak to lightning and not grass, the fact that it's not weak to grass is actually a little bit annoying in this case. I will not be able to knock it out. So, yeah. He is going to Skyla. Man, I would have liked if he didn't Skyla, because then I could actually just Portrait for a rare candy. But he does grab the Ultra Ball with his Skyla. I mean, it makes sense that he would this turn. And then here's where he's just going to start double executing like crazy. This is... I mean, like, I have nothing against double execute. In fact, I run it in a ton of decks of my own. I think it's the best way to mitigate like the discard costs of a ton of different cards in the Legacy format. I mean, like Ultra Ball, Junk Arm, Computer Search, all of those, and then Superior Energy Retrieval in some decks rely on double discards, which in decks that rely on a lot of puzzle pieces, like in particular the deck that we're up against, Empoleon Dusk Noir, then it really does come down to conserving your resources, and double execute is 100% the way to go, especially if you're using Diving Draw, which also discards a bunch of cards. I mean, that's 100% the way to go. Doesn't mean that it's not annoying to go up against, though. So let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of Ho-Oh and the Switch. Ho-Oh and the Switch to grab... Okay, so I could go for a Rebirth this turn, but let's just grab a Horsea for now. Actually, you know what? That was a bad play. That was a very bad play by me. I should have just Rebirthed and try to draw and try to get the energy on Ho-Oh, because that way I still would have the Lost Burn available to me. Yeah, that was a bad play. That was a very, very bad play. I definitely don't agree with that on my end. Like, looking back at it, I should not have grabbed the Horsea. I should have just tried to go for a Rebirth. And I do draw into... Well, I mean, this hand is actually a perfect example of Prime Time. I mean, you get the Yanmega Prime, Magnezone Prime, and Kingdra Prime all right next to each other. And so let's evolve into another Yanmega, and then just judge. Put our hands... I guess our hands don't even need to be the same size anymore. What do I have that I want to use? It's Junk Arm, get rid of the Yanmega Prime, and the Yanma to grab a... Do I want to grab a Level Ball, or do I want to grab a Switch? Let's grab a Switch, so that I have it for next turn. Then let's Magnetic draw up to 6. See what I can do. And, okay, yeah, let's just Lost Burn, because another reason that I disagree with the fact that I put a Horsea instead of a Ho-Oh, I was getting a little bit overzealous with the fact that I wanted to get all 3 of my primes up and going, because now I have a Lightning in the discard pile, which can only go onto Ho-Oh. I mean, I guess I could Super Rod it back into the deck later, but I have 2 Lightning in the Lost Zone, which really sucks for this deck. I mean, I would much rather have non-Lightning be in there. And I get... Okay, so I don't have my Switch. My Switch is in the deck, though, and considering I have 2 supporters and a Magnetic Draw at my disposal, I should be able to... I still should be able to take a knockout, or I still should be able to switch out, is what I mean, into my Yanmega, and then assuming he doesn't get Piplup powered up, I still should be able to get the knockout. So I think I'm in a good spot. I mean, I definitely put myself in a worse spot because of the... Definitely put myself in a worse spot due to playing down the Horsea as opposed to going for Ho-Oh, potentially getting 3 energy on board, which would have been absolutely incredible, because then I could have just lost zone 2 of the energy off of Ho-Oh, which would have been 100% necessary. Like, getting the 2 energy off of Ho-Oh would have allowed me to take the knockout onto the Empoleon while keeping both lightning onto my Magnezone, which was something that I could rely on late game. So that was, yeah, I mean, I'm still kicking myself over that play because that was honestly one of the, okay, apart from my chokes recently when I've just given up the game, I think that that play right there was one of the most suboptimal plays that I've done in a while. But anyway, he is starting to get the junk arm into computer search with the double propagations going. So I'm just trying to talk about different things because I mean it's a lot of clicking through his turns. I mean I could honestly go up, get a cup of coffee, maybe order some Jimmy John's, something like that. Because I mean freaky fast delivery, you know how it goes. Probably grabbed some combination of like Rare Candy and Empoleon to try to get an attack off this turn. Hopefully he doesn't have anything, and he actually does not at all, so that is fantastic for me. So what I'm going to do, I have a Hugh. First of all, let's lightning up this Magnezone. And then, do I want to Judge or do I want to Hugh? Let's Magnetic Draw, because I mean I have the Rare Candy in my hand, I might as well see if I can try to draw into the Kingdra. Or the Switch, that works too, so let's go ahead and switch into my... let's switch into the damaged Yanmega. I mean, it's going to go down anyway. And then let's Judge, put my opponent at 4 cards. I even get the Rare Candy Kingdra. And then... okay, this is tricky. I could have just attacked this turn, or I could Rare Candy Kingdra. I think I'm going to Rare Candy Kingdra. And then N... no, that won't... ah, darn it. that was a bad play, too. I mean, this kind of shows you that how little I play this deck. Just because, I mean, I don't know when to go for what. What I should have done that turn was just left our hands at 4 cards apiece. And, okay, maybe I can Smeargle, see if I can get something good. Okay, oh, here we go. I get a Professor Oak's new theory. But I already used my Switch as well. Ah, darn it. So, I mean, that just kind of goes to show that I'm not as familiar with this deck as I could be. I don't know when to just attack or when to try to go for plays like the Kingdra, just getting that on board. What I should have done is just waited, not gotten the Kingdra on board, just taken my knockout on the Duskull, and then evolved into Kingdra next turn after I had taken my prize. So, I mean, the first play... where the first time that I really misplayed, that was just me being dumb. This one was just me, this was just my unfamiliarity with the deck, just not knowing when to go for what type of plays. He does get the Oak's new theory into an Empoleon. As long as he, okay, if he doesn't get a way to switch out the Duskull this turn, I can still take a knockout on it, because I do have the energy with my Smeargle. Which I think, which still should put me in an okay spot, all things considered. Because, I mean, both of us are down to single-digit decks. I mean, he's about to be up to a double-digit. But for a while, both of us were at single-digit decks, and only 3 prizes had been taken total, which kind of just shows you how slow these decks are. I would really, really like to get another Magnezone up, but it really wouldn't do a whole lot, considering... I have two of my lightning are in the discard, are in the lost zone. One's in the discard pile and one's attached. So even if I did get another Magnezone up, I would have no way of powering it up as an attacker. Because yes, I could start relying on the more magnetic draws, but I really don't think it would do a whole lot for me. And I can't even attack with Ho-Oh because it is weak to Empoleon. So that would just be giving up 2 prizes, and that's something that I 1000% cannot afford to do at this stage in the game. On the bright side, I do think that I have enough energy in my deck left that I can attach to Smeargle and retreat it out so that I can attack with my Yanmegas and still be able to power up my Magnezone later. And once again, I mean, we're just seeing the... okay, so there's going to be at least 2 more Propagates this turn because he's probably going to computer search. Probably going to Junk Arm into a computer search in order to, you know, just... make the plays that he needs to. I mean, that's ultimately what I think is going to... what I think's going to win him the game at this point. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't think... yeah, I can't take enough prizes in time to win the game, so I think if he does just... and I don't even have any ends left. He does get the switch, so he will be able to switch out into his Empoleon. And then... is he going to be able to knock me out? No, he's not. So what I can do is try to take advantage of this situation. Go ahead, play the energy onto the Smeargle. And then let's Spray Splash. Yeah, let's just go ahead and put some more damage on the Empoleon in case I need it. And then let's retreat into Yanmega. I don't want to Portrait in case he has like a Juniper in his hand because that would just lose me the game. Instead, let's go ahead and Hugh, give him more cards, but at the same time it matches our hand so that I am able to Sonic Boom and go from there. So that worked out well. Yeah, it's going to give him, well, another Empoleon, but he's running low on cards too, and the more cards he goes through, the better chance I have of decking him out. But at the same time, if he just plays it straight, pretty sure that my deck is low enough to where he can just... I mean, he doesn't even have to attack. I think he can just draw, pass, and wow, he is going low. He is going very low. So maybe if he doesn't realize that he's going to run out of cards, then that could potentially... Okay, does he have another Junk Arm? Because he's executing again. He's double propagating again. So that tells me he either has an Ultra Ball or a Junk Arm. Yep, we see the Junk Arm. And Computer Search, is that going to do a whole lot for him? Because, I mean, I think all of his resources... Yeah, all of his resources are in the discard pile. So, he's going for the Hypnotoxic Laser. Honestly, not sure why. I think he would have knocked me out anyway, even without the laser. He is going to go ahead and end me. That's actually amazing for me. That gives me another turn. Like, that gives me another turn to work with, and there's all my energy that I would have liked earlier just to get that in the discard pile for Ho-Oh. But, I mean, I guess better late than never. And, yeah, I don't know why he... Not sure why he wasted a Junk Arm for... Yeah, not sure why he wasted a Junk Arm then. Because he really didn't need to. So at this point, Yanmega can get the knockout. Let's go ahead and Magnetic Draw. I get another Magnezone. Let's Spray Splash. I'm going to be able to knock out the Empoleon anyway. Start targeting down the Duskull. And then... do I want to attach the energy to anything? No, let's just Sonic Boom. No, go away, Windows. I don't want to see you right now. I'll delete you later. Let's just grab this prize, get another rare candy. This is... So I'm holding on to these energy just because... I mean, I could have played one last turn, but just in case he ends me again, I want to have the maximum cards... Yeah, there we go. So he does end me again. I wanted to have the maximum cards in my deck so that I have the best chance of not decking out at the end of the game. He is going to be able to knock out my Yanmega this turn. So I think what it's going to come down to, because I will be able to 100% attack, because, I mean, I have enough cards that I definitely should be able to attack at the very least, get an energy on Magnezone. But yeah, I even draw into that energy so I don't even have to Magnetic Draw for it. So I need one of these to flip heads, otherwise I pretty much just lose the game. So there's one Tails. Do I get the second heads? Yes, I do. I'm going to be able to put 3 energy onto it. Let's just throw these 3 onto the Ho-Oh. And now what I'm going to be able to do is let's Spray Splash. Target down the Duskull a little more. It only has 50 HP. Maybe if I can get a knockout on this Empoleon with Lost Burn, I can use a Lost Burn once again later in the game, and then just use Kingdra's Spray Splash to start targeting it down. And honestly, if I had been targeting down Duskull from the beginning, I'd be able to knock it out next turn, because Kingdra would have had 2 extra Spray Splashes that I unnecessarily put on the Empoleon. And yeah, my inexperience with this deck is 100% showing, just because I'm making plays that are working, but I'm not making like the optimal plays for a given situation. And he is going to deck himself out. Does he know he has a last Junk Arm? Okay, he must, because that's why... Yeah, he must have the last Junk Arm, because otherwise there is 0 reason that he would deck himself out. And then he'll just Junk Arm for a... whatchamacallit. Yeah, he'll just Junk Arm for a Super Rod to put... I would think, like... I would think at this point you would just go for energy because, yeah, he does just Super Rod, puts 3 energy back into the deck, and he doesn't have one at this point. Otherwise, I think he would have attached, unless he's just slow playing it, or he's not slow playing. He's just slow rolling. There we go. So he doesn't have an energy right now. He's gonna Sinister Hand. He's not able to get the knockout right now on my Magnezone because there's only 9. Wait. He needs 11 Mons on board. There are 9 on. He has 2 Execute. Oh my gosh, he's gonna go for the benched Executes. He's going for the benched Executes, and he's going to be able to knock out my Magnezone Prime. What a play! That's a fantastic play. Like, that really is. That's such an awesome play. Good job, Henry. Like, I tip my hat to you on that play. Like, that's finding that play, because otherwise I would have probably been able to just win the game. Like, if I knocked out this Empoleon, he doesn't have anything left. He has no attackers left. I mean, he'd be able to move around energy, but at most he'd be able to get 1 KO on, like, my Smeargle. So, yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic play. That really was. And now I'm in a position that I just have... I just had to stall. Like, I think I just had to try to deck him out. So let's go ahead and get rid of this Magnezone. Do I have the other Magnemite? Yeah, I do. So I'm going to put up my Life Dew Smeargle. He'll be able to draw. Let's Spray Splash just start. I don't know. All of them have 30 HP. Executes aren't evolving, so I'm just going to start targeting down Execute, I suppose. And... 2 energy in the discard pile. It's not worth it just yet going for Ho-Oh. Yeah, I think I just had to end it there and then pray that he decks himself out and doesn't have any other ways of winning. Yeah, attack command goes down, knocks out my Smeargle. He's not able to take a prize, and we are actually able to win the game off of deck out. So despite my misplays, we were able to come through in the end. Just to be cool, I'm going to go ahead and Rare Candy into a Magnezone and then deck myself out. Just because, yeah, all the cool kids are decking themselves out nowadays. Let's just go ahead and give him a well played, play an energy onto Ho-Oh just because, Spray Splash the Execute just to make some unnecessary plays. And you know what? Just for final fireworks, see if I can rebirth. No, I do not. So yeah, just gonna pass it to him, and we are able to win the game. So wow, that was a freaking epic game. Wow, like I have no other words other than wow, really. Like, that was such an incredible game. Henry made some really, really solid plays. I mean, that one Magnezone play with Sinister Hand was a very, very good play. And yeah, I'm ending the video there. That game was mentally draining. Like, that took a lot out of me. But I hope you guys, wow, I can't even speak anymore. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.